Guys, welcome to Hoops Junction. Today we're breaking down the Eastern and Western Conference playoffs, the first round, round one. Who gets out of the first round? How many games does it take? And why do I think that this is going to go down like this? First, we're going to start with the Western Conference, Golden State and Houston Rockets. I have the Golden State Warriors defeating Houston in 5 games. I want to give Houston 1 game due to the fact that James Harden had times he shows a propensity to explode, have those big scoring 40-point, 50-point nights, and if the Warriors have a careless night with the basketball in Houston, then definitely Rockets can win a game. Most likely it's going to be a sweep, but I'm going to give the Rockets 1 game. They're 8th for a reason. Don't play any defense. Don't have great transition defense. Their star player, James Harden, is awful on defense. And the Warriors shred defense. They have home court advantage, and they got the best player in the league right now, Stephen Curry. So I got the Warriors in 5. Moving on up to the next one, Clippers versus the Portland Trailblazers. The Clippers are a good team. They got Blake Griffin back. They got everything all cylinders. The Blazers, man, I'm very surprised at how they played. They've been extraordinary. They've been resilient, and Terry Stotts has them. He had them 5th in the Western Conference, and they lost Robin Lopez, LaMarcus Aldridge. Who else did they lose? Aaron Aflalo, Nicholas Batum, all these Wes Matthews. They lose all these players, and they're still competitive. Amazing. I have the Clippers actually winning that series in 6 games. I think the Trailblazers could give them a run for their money. Though the Clippers are also supremely talented, but the style of basketball they play is inferior. It's inferior. It's too much one-on-one. It's not enough ball movement that it should be. But I have the Trailblazers actually winning 2 games, so Clippers in 6. OKC, Dallas, next round. This is a 3 and 6 matchup. OKC, great team. They have the perfect kryptonite for Dallas. Perfect kryptonite. They have athleticism, speed, and they have 2 shooters. And I wouldn't call Westbrook a shooter, but they have a shooter in Durant, and they have shooters around Durant. They got that guy. Comes off the bench. I can't remember his name, but he's a pretty good 3-point shooter. And Russ can get hot when he has to. But don't underestimate Dallas. The one thing that you got to understand is they've been resting players like Darren Williams, and they have Wes Matthews now. So this is going to be a series. I think OKC is going to beat them, but this is going to be a series. I don't think it's going to be as lopsided as people think it is. I have OKC in 6. I think that OKC is going to start off good, but somewhere in the middle they're going to lose their way because that's how they play basketball. They always lose their way, and then they figure it out in the last seconds of a matchup. Especially like with the way that Russell Westbrook's been playing, he's elevated his game. Kevin Durant's elevated his game, but everybody else around him has not. And when you're going to play against Dallas, they have veterans and they know what buttons to push. So that's why I'll give them to them in 6. The 2 and 7 matchup, San Antonio versus Memphis Grizzlies. I have the San Antonio Spurs sweeping the Grizzlies. Grizzlies are down Michael Conley, down Marc Gasol. They're pretty much depleted, and I don't think they can't compete. This is not like, Vince Carter is not going to be able to hit them shots anymore like that. And Zach Randolph, he has to go up against LaMarcus Aldridge and Tim Duncan. I mean, it's going to be too much. I have them sweeping them. Maybe they'll win a game, but they're just so depleted I can't even see that. But I have the Spurs in a sweep or in 5 games. Most likely a sweep. Now we move on to the Eastern Conference. Really fast, really quick breakdown, y'all. We got to get to it because the games start tomorrow at 12:30. Let's go. For number 1 matchup, first round, Cleveland, number 1, Detroit 8. This is a matchup that Cleveland doesn't want. And I'm going to tell you why. Detroit Pistons are very unpredictable. They're very young. They don't know when to be scared. They don't know when to panic. And that being said, they could be coming into a situation with a veteran coach, Stan Van Gundy, a lot of confidence that they actually made the playoffs, and they had MVP candidate in Andre Drummond. So all that being said, they could actually do something to Cleveland. They could actually make it interesting. But you got to remember, this is LeBron James. He's out for another title. Kyrie Irving's ready to prove himself. Kevin Love's ready to prove himself. So I actually have the Cavs winning in 5. I think they could dispose of them. But this is not a matchup that they want, and I'm going to tell you why. The Detroit Pistons have a great point guard play in Reggie Jackson, and they have a big man that wreaks havoc in the paint. If Andre Drummond can manage to stay out of foul trouble, then Cleveland's going to have a problem. They're going to have a problem. So, but this is LeBron James. He likes to figure out the problems. He's a wizard with the basketball. He likes to ISO ball a lot. They like to run a lot of pick and roll. So expect to see a lot of switching, a lot of pick and roll, and a lot of LeBron James. This matchup is where they need LeBron James to be LeBron James because Kyrie Irving has an advantage, but not as much as people think. And Kevin Love doesn't have a great advantage. LeBron James is the only person with the advantage, and he needs to take it every night. Because if he doesn't, this could be a longer series than most people anticipate. The 4-5 matchup, Atlanta Hawks versus the Boston Celtics. I have the Boston Celtics defeating the Hawks in 6 games. I think the job that Brad Stevens is doing and the newfound confidence they have with Isaiah Thomas and Crowder and all those guys is wonderful. And I'm telling you right now, I love the Hawks, but all their players, they just lack that confidence level. They, for some reason, when it's time to close out games or when they're shutting down Kyle Korver, they can't deal. And the Celtics aren't like that. They find a way to deal. So that being said, I'm going with the Celtics. 3 and 6 matchup, Miami Heat versus Charlotte Hornets. This is a good matchup. I like this matchup. I have the Heat in 6. I think Charlotte is good enough to win 2 games. I think they have a lot of confidence. That arena's rocking. Kemba Walker is a candidate for most improved. I mean, they have Nicholas Batum, so they kind of revamped their team, and it's going to be good. But the Miami Heat have Whiteside, Wade, now adding Joe Johnson. Their upside is way up there. I think they're the only team in the East that can actually give Cleveland a run for their money, like a legitimate run for their money. So that being said, I'm gonna go with the Miami Heat in 6. I feel like Wade has an advantage every night. He has an advantage every night. Joe Johnson has an advantage every night. Hassan Whiteside, I mean, the play depends on him. If this is a 6-game series, if Whiteside plays well, then okay, boom, there it is. But if Whiteside plays horrible, then that's cool, the defining factor. All right, the 2 and 7 matchup, Toronto versus Indiana. Here's the thing about Toronto. I don't believe in Toronto at all whatsoever, not even a little bit. I think like what disappointed me about them is a couple years ago, they lost to the Brooklyn Nets in overtime, Game 7 at home. That's unheard of. I feel like that set them back 20 years. But they're playing against a Pacers team that like to play a lot of small ball. And the thing is, the Raptors have players that can punish that small ball. They have DeMar DeRozan. They have great point guard play. And, oh, man, what is this guy's name? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I keep remembering the people's name. But they have a great point guard. It's like they call him British Bulldog. He plays like a bulldog. I feel like their play is suited to beat the Pacers and beat them, I think, handily. I think Paul George by himself, he'll win you a game. But I think that with Monte Ellis's sporadic play, Miles Turner being young, I feel like they need one more year to gel. And they pretty much almost barely made the playoffs. So that being said, I like the Toronto Raptors. I think the Raptors are going to do a good job in actually closing out the series, not allowing this to get to a Game 7. I think they're going to win this series. I'll say they'll win this series in 5. I want to say they'll win this series in 5. And if they don't win this in 5, then they got a dogfight because it's that psychological thing. Part of the issue with a lot of these teams is psychologically in the playoffs, they can't deal with that pressure. See what I'm saying? That pressure is too much. The Atlanta Hawks last year, they almost had a tough time with the Wizards. Almost lost to the Wizards. And then when they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, they got swept. So it's that pressure, ladies and gentlemen. Same thing with the Raptors. The Raptors, they have to prove themselves now. We're worthy. Dwayne Casey has us balling. We're ready to dispel all the myths. We're the team that's going to take the crown. They have to show me that. And if they win this in 5, I know they're serious. But if they don't, then they're not serious. But, man, that's all I got, man. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you think these series are going to play out. Let me know if you expected a lot more sweeps. I want to hear from you guys and what you have to say. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Peace.